cannot ignore the fact that it was black blood that built this country. It was black tears that built this country. It was sit-ins that gave you opportunity. It was lynchings that gave you opportunity. It was Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and all of these legendary black people that were loved and cherished and held by black women who gave you this opportunity. So just remember that and appreciate it. And when you see a sign that says Black Lives Matter, all you gotta do is say, yes, they do. Young black man, just be who you are. Young black man, you were meant to be a star. Young black man, keep yourself away from violence. Back at you with another video. You already know we coming off. Flip this whole shit up. My fault, guys. I'm like 5 videos in for the day. I'm just a little off the shits right now. All right, give me 1 second. Let me just change the colors of the lights real quick. You change the mood a little bit. What y'all think? That works? Yeah, let's do that. I like the blue. Back at you with another video. This one's gonna be a little bit more serious. I came across this video on WorldStar. I came across this video on WorldStar of a Mexican guy just talking about how other minority groups in America need to appreciate the black struggle, specifically Mexicans. And I just thought it was important to put on the channel. As you know, I'm black. I don't know if you've noticed. And sometimes the lights get bright. Maybe I look like I'm light skinned or something. I don't know. And I think it's important. I think it's a conversation that's not being had. I think it's a conversation that gets overlooked and ignored. And I think as a black person, I think I should be trying to spread that level of awareness for things I feel like people aren't listening to. So with that said, let's go.
It's because black people, y'all cry too much. Y'all complain too much. You're victims. Here's the thing. That crying, that complaining is what caused black people to fight. If it weren't for black people put in prison for fighting and getting murked a lot of times, if it weren't for that, a lot of minorities in this country wouldn't have these systemic opportunities that we do today. The irony that I see when I see Mexicans or Mexican Americans tell black people that y'all cry too much, y'all complain, y'all just victims. But it is that crying and that complaining what caused y'all to fight for all of us. Literally, we Mexican, and I speak for myself, we're so prideful that we choose to be quiet a lot of times as we're being systemically mistreated and we face systemic inequalities. And due to that is why we as Mexican people are so behind. It's so behind, and we get mistreated so much in this country because we don't complain. We don't cry. We are just bullied around, being pushed around by everybody, as opposed to black people who said, nah, we're gonna fight. And that sacrifice while fighting has enabled all minorities, not just Mexicans, Asians, Indians, everybody in this country benefits from the civil rights movements that was fought by black people. So my personal opinion in regards to black people always complaining, black people always crying, we need to stop identifying that as crying and complaining and really call it, we're tired of systemic inequality, systemic oppression, and we are going to finally stand up and change things. That is what a lot of Mexican people can't see. We call that crying, but the reality is that the reason why we are in the conditions that we are is because we don't cry enough.
Ooh, I think that was a lot. And I wanna piggyback on top of that by saying it's not just Mexicans. And it's not just every other race. I watch black men currently, in this day and age, be tricked into thinking that when they see a BLM ideology, not the corporation, but the ideology, when they see people talk about that it's crying and complaining. This modern systemic environment is now tricking the black people out of their own knowledge, out of what they see with their own eyes and hear with their own ears. Perfect example is I see a whole bunch of black people saying Kamala Harris isn't black. What the fuck else is she? Even if she's just Indian, she's not white. So now we live in a day and age where a person who's half Jamaican, since when did we not identify Jamaican as black? I don't know. And you heard me dog academics on this channel, and I still say he's black, and I consider him black because black is more than just a skin color. It's an ideology, it's a cultural understanding. Black is family. It's when you're walking through the grocery store and you see a black dude you don't know, but you nod your head just to tell him, I see you, bro, you in here, cool. I'm now watching the same system trick black men and black women into being able to just determine what black is black enough. Actually, it's the same argument you've seen people make when the Drake and Kendrick thing happened. The Kendrick side was saying, black enough. And even in my videos before then, I said I'm not the arbiter to tell people who's black enough. It's not my place. Do you identify? Is it in your blood? Is that your family? And it's black enough for me. I don't care what color you are. Now, do I think some of what Drake leans on might not necessarily be advantageous to black culture? Sure. But still a black man. But I just wanted to piggyback on top of that because I'm watching a generation of black people be tricked into thinking that sticking up for yourself is crying and complaining. That calling someone out when they're wrong is crying and complaining. That not letting people walk all over you is crying and complaining. It's interesting because what he said in that video was important because every other race of minorities benefits from the blood, sweat, and the tears of black people. Let me emphasize the blood part. Every other race of people, every other minority group in America benefits from the blood of black people, the sweat of black people built this country, the tears of black people, the tears of black mothers, the tears of black wives, the tears of black children. And then you get to just throw all of that away when somebody brings it up. Like even right now, what I'm saying right now, someone's going to say, oh, we need to let that go. We're all people. No, we're not all the same people. I'm not playing this turn the other cheek shit. That might work for some of y'all. I don't play none of that. Nah, bro. I'm meeting you where you're at. I meet a racist, I become a racist. I'm just keeping it all the way funky with you. I meet a racist, I become a racist. I'm sorry. I meet a good guy, I become a good guy. I meet a bad guy, I become the bad guy. I'm built like that, you heard? But what I won't do is I won't allow everything that I've learned and experienced in my life just be overshadowed because it makes some people uncomfortable. You let white people lie to you about your history and then make you feel bad about finding out. That's all it is. Whenever I tell people this all the time. You work in a predominantly white field. I have a friend. She works in the healthcare field, and her job is probably one other black person in the field. And when she first got the job, I remember telling her, I said, hey, you need to be more aware of your energy because culturally, you just having your standard resting face looks like you're annoyed. It looks like you're mad at somebody. You need to be aware of that because if you're not, you're going to make these white people uncomfortable. And she was like, what are you talking about? And this is a person who I talk to and I talk about black stuff too. And they don't really get into it. It's not really their thing. And I believe that life will teach you. So I tell her, I say, hey, I'm telling you that when you make white people uncomfortable, even if it's just one, self-preservation, they will all come together to get rid of you if they will all turn you into the problem. And like I said, so as time goes on, whatever, a couple months, maybe a year goes by, having a conversation, and she's like, oh, they brought me into a meeting and said that they don't like my tone, right? And I know there's black women watching this video right now just wanting to punch the screen because you've probably had the tone conversation already. But if you do not know, if you are not of black descent or you are not a minority or you just didn't have the tone conversation, the tone conversation is basically when you work in a workplace and your boss tells you to do something that is not within your job sphere and you say, I'm not doing that. That's not my job. Your tone. They want you to do whatever they tell you to do. No matter what it is, they just want you to do it. And when you don't, they start writing you up for shit like tone. And I gave her the best advice I could. I said, they can't write you up for tone. Tone's not a thing. That doesn't mean shit. We live in a state that's fire at will. If that's the case, tell them just fire you. There ain't no point in playing this game. Oh, yous don't like me? Cool. it ain't gonna make it better. Just fire me. You ain't gotta make some shit up. You ain't gotta make no tone up. So I know we ended up in a place we wasn't supposed to be, but I just wish, to end this video, I just wish people would appreciate it more. I wish people would appreciate everything that black people had to go through in this country for everyone else to benefit from. And what tends to happen is that making white people uncomfortable mentality is starting to rub off on everyone else. So when black people say something like, we built this country, for some reason, the Spanish people will get upset about it. We know why the whites get upset. You might have some Asians who get upset about it. As if this is untrue, as if we're making it up, as if slavery didn't happen, as if chattel slavery wasn't a thing, as if we didn't economically keep the South on our literal backs. Some people will get upset about it. What I really want is I want people to stop ignoring it. I'm not asking you to do anything outlandish. You ain't gotta shake the hands of every black person you meet. But do not ignore the fact that it was black blood that built this country. It is that built this country. It was sit-ins that gave you opportunity. It was lynchings that gave you opportunity. It was Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and all of these legendary black people that were loved and cherished and held by black women who gave you this opportunity. So just remember that and appreciate it. And when you see a sign that says Black Lives Matter, all you gotta do is say, yes, they do. With that being said, I'm out.